Friends, I'm going to tell you a little story. We're on Main Street, which has now been blocked off and turned into a trolley street. You can drive down there where the Orpheum is. You can see the Orpheum's on the corner there. I've done a story there. There's the Hotel Chiska in the distance. Between the Orpheum and here's a parking lot now on the right hand side. There was a theater there and some stuff. To give you another landmark, is where the Orpheum is Bill Street. So if you turn left, the Elvis statue is down on the right there. If you turn left, not at this first block, but where the Orpheum sign is, you turn left, there's an Elvis statue on the right there, about halfway down the block. But something happened right here. This is 128. You can see that furniture store. And this furniture store has been here for a long time. It's called Royal Furniture. And notice this little Art Deco setup right here. Now in this picture that I'm going to show you, if you'll notice, you'll see that Art Deco setup is right there where my thumb is at. To the right of that was a theater. You see it's called the Strand. And right there to the bottom right was the Gridiron restaurant. You see it, just that little hole right there. So it was the Strand. So it was Royal Furniture. It was the Strand right here. Unfortunately, it's been torn down. I have even though it's freezing, I have the Segway out. But the Strand movie theater was right here. And you know how wide a movie theater would be. Somewhere right here. So the Gridiron, based off of that picture, would be at this end of the building. So it would be somewhere right here, even maybe where these doors are. It's hard to tell size-wise from the picture. So I'm going to tell you a story that happened right there inside of the Gridiron restaurant on a specific day. And a lot of other stuff happened around here as well. So friends, this story starts with a young lady named Robbie Moore. This is her right here, and most young ladies would be thrilled to be sitting next to a young Elvis Presley in 1956. Not so much for Robbie Moore. I will tell you the rest of the story, but let's start here. The date was June 19th, 1956, and Elvis appeared on Wink Martindale's show called Dance Party. He was with Dewey Phillips, and him and Dewey were there to talk about the upcoming fundraiser on July the 4th for charities that Dewey was going to MC and Elvis was going to appear at. And Elvis also talked about a personal ring of his that he would be giving away, a gold ring valued at $600. That would be the grand prize to draw people there. Of course, Elvis was there. You didn't need a ring to draw people there, but I'm sure it didn't hurt. And Wink had a co-star named Susie Bancroft. This is Susie in the middle, and this is Elvis and Susie. And you'll see some internet photographs of this photograph saying that this is Robbie Moore, and that is absolutely not accurate. So on this night, Elvis and Barbara Hearn were together at the dance party with Wink Martindale, and afterwards, they left there, drove down to the Chiska, which is the building you can see behind Elvis's left shoulder if you look over it. And they actually walked down Main Street. There's many, many photographs. And Ashley and I are working on that story. We're going to reconstruct that night so you know all the different things that happened. There's actually two stories that we're going to tell from this night other than this one. But we're going to stick to what happened with Robbie Moore in this particular episode. So how all these photographs came about is a professional photographer, Robert Williams, for a magazine came and made photographs of Elvis that night, walking down the street and all the different things that he did that night, including going in the Gridiron restaurant. What we're going to talk about now happened in the Gridiron restaurant. It's very, very interesting. So let's start by saying that it wasn't just Elvis. It was Elvis, Barbara, and they had an entourage. There was 8 or 10 people. I do not know who they were, but I know that there was a bunch of other people with Elvis, but they did not get photographed that night, or I haven't seen photographs of it. He saw Robbie Moore in there, and I believe Elvis knew Robbie Moore. But she claims that he did not know her at all. She was a telephone operator. She was about 20 years old at the time. Elvis would have been about 21, so they were similar in age, so it's very likely that he knew her. But she would not give him the time of day, which he wasn't used to at this moment. At this moment, women are swooning over him everywhere he goes. So you have to picture Elvis, photographer standing there, Barbara Hearn standing there. This girl will not give him the time of day. So what does he do? He starts picking on her. He actually drinks from her cup. He eats her sandwich. He puts his head on her shoulder. And she is not having it all, friends. She is not giving him the time of day at all. It's cold shoulder all the way. And it got photographed, as you can see right here. So fast forward 2 months. Newspaper article, "The Gal Who Rocked Elvis." Memphis, Tennessee, Sunday. A soft shoulder and a fast photograph cost him $5,500 in an out-of-court settlement with a former girlfriend, Elvis Presley said. So I'm wondering, friends, if maybe this was a previous girlfriend and she was mad because Elvis was there with Barbara Hearn. Maybe we're on to something. I don't really find where he says it was his girlfriend anywhere else, but that may be part of this whole thing. September 29th. If you were an attractive 20-year-old girl and saw your picture in a magazine with Elvis Presley's head on your shoulder, what would you do? Robbie Moore threatened to sue Elvis. The rock and roll singer paid her $5,500 in an out-of-court settlement. That's pretty crazy if you think about it, friends. She sued him for an invasion of privacy, $42,500, and he settled and paid her $5,500. This actually says $5,000, but that's not right. She resigned from her telephone operating job because coworkers were getting on her for suing Elvis because they were Elvis fans and they thought she was crazy. And something that I think is interesting is people would even go to her house and threaten to attack her and do stuff like that. So I thought it would be an interesting thing let's go to Robbie Moore's house. Let's see where she lived. Stay tuned. 3.9 miles right here from Main Street by the Gridiron to the young lady's house. The young lady that sued Elvis lived on this street, and you can see these are pretty nice homes. This is a nice neighborhood. So that means that she was either in a boarding house, or if she lived with her parents, they were pretty well off. These are some good sized homes. And she lived at 431 Stonewall. All right, light, let's go. We don't have time for you, red light. We need a green. And naturally, there's a car behind me. $425. So friends, that young lady lived in this house right here. You can see that sign right there says 431 North Stonewall. This is the house that she lived in. And this is not small house neighborhood. These are pretty nice homes. And one more interesting thing about here is she received phone calls at home, phone calls at work, death threats, and I imagine people even showed up right here, friends. So that's another piece to the Elvis puzzle. She lived right there. The lady that sued Elvis for biting her sandwich. Right there. So friends, I bet you most of you would pay Elvis to bite your sandwich. Just saying. And I do want to point out that the lawsuit was really more about her appearing in this magazine without her permission than him biting her sandwich or drinking her milk, although he did do that. But the settlement, $5,500 at the time, is the equivalent of about $50,000 today. But if she'd have played her cards right, she could be making personal appearances today, would have made a whole lot more than $5,500, I can tell you that. People would pay to read her book. Yep. So Ashley looked far and wide. I searched. We tried to figure out if Robbie Moore is still alive. She would be about 83 right now. And we were unable to figure it out. So if anybody here knows the Moore family from Memphis, Robbie, that would have been born in 1936, please contact me. I'll put my email in the description down at the bottom. But if you know anything about it, tighten up and contact me. We tightened up and told a story about Elvis getting sued. He had to pay Robbie because he drank her milk, ate her sandwich.